Hi, my name is Corey Biazzo, and I'm a practicing American civil litigation attorney, and you are watching Executive Coup. In today's episode, we're going to discuss President Trump's recent executive order issued on August 25th, 2025, titled Prosecuting Burning the American Flag. This order directs federal agencies to prioritize prosecution of American flag desecration, including burning by U.S. citizens and foreign nationals. We break down why this order is plainly unconstitutional under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and how it attempts to sidestep clear Supreme Court rulings to achieve a political result. Let's start with the summary. The order describes flag burning as inherently provocative and offensive, a threat to national unity, rights, liberty, and security. It mandates enhanced enforcement against acts of flag desecration under available federal, state, and local laws, including civil and criminal statutes. The Attorney General is instructed to prosecute such acts to the fullest extent, seek clarification of First Amendment exceptions, and for foreign nationals, authorize immigration consequences for flag desecration. But here's the critical question. Is this lawful? Or does it violate the First Amendment's guarantee of free expression? The Supreme Court has already answered this. In a case titled Texas versus Johnson from 1989, the court ruled that burning the American flag, even as a form of protest, constitutes expressive conduct situated at the core of our First Amendment values. In the case, Johnson was arrested after burning a flag at the 1984 Republican National Convention. Although the act deeply offended many, the court held that the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protected Johnson's expressive conduct from criminal prosecution. The Supreme Court stated that the state, here being the state of Texas, cannot punish flag desecration, quote, in order to preserve the flag as a symbol of national unity. It cannot criminalize speech or expressive acts simply because the message is offensive or disagreeable. I agree, it is offensive and disagreeable. However, restrictions targeting the expressive impact of flag burning are content-based and must withstand the most exacting scrutiny. Strict scrutiny. Prosecution for peaceful flag burning is unconstitutional except where the conduct incites imminent lawless action or constitutes fighting words, neither of which applied to Johnson's protest. No physical violence or breach of the peace occurred during Johnson's protest, and the government's interest was deemed inseparable from the suppression of expression. The court did not create an exception for the American flag, meaning that generally burning the American flag is protected expressive conduct under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. President Trump's executive order plainly attempts to resurrect arguments that failed in Texas versus Johnson to persuade the U.S. Supreme Court by insisting that desecration incites violence or amounts to fighting words. But the Supreme Court was explicit. Feeling offense or anger is not a basis to suppress free speech. Criminalizing flag desecration for its provocative nature or possible emotional impact is not constitutional. Even the order's workaround suggesting prosecution under content-neutral laws, disorderly conduct, property crimes won't survive constitutional scrutiny if the real reason for enforcement is the expressive meaning of flag burning. The attempt to impose immigration sanctions or limit naturalization based on protected speech fares no better under First Amendment jurisprudence. And if the administration tries to, quote, seek clarification or new exceptions from federal courts, it faces the full weight of Johnson and related precedents, all of which recognize core First Amendment protection for dissent, especially symbolic dissent, which burning the American flag squarely falls within. As Justice Brennan wrote, quote, "If there is a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment, it is that the government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable, even if it's expressed by burning the flag. The government is free to persuade, but not to compel, respect for symbols through criminal prosecution. To do otherwise is to dilute the very freedom the flag is meant to represent." The executive order not only disregards binding Supreme Court authority, it sets a dangerous precedent for executive overreach against constitutionally protected dissent. Upholding the First Amendment sometimes means tolerating speech or symbolic acts that many find repugnant. That strength is exactly what our Constitution demands. Keep following Executive Coup for further updates on this matter and others related to the apparent executive coup attempt that is unfolding in the U.S. federal government at the direction of President Donald J. Trump. Thank you.